we are gonna see what every profession in Cataclysm has to offer and which ones you should take. Keep in mind that I am not talking about money making here, mainly because professions are most often a terrible way to make money in Cataclysm. I will try to toss you a bone and tell you which ones do have some sort of decent money maker, but for the most part, don't look at professions for money anymore. Just look at them for what they really are, which is stat bonuses. Well, alchemy has a lot of perks. First of all, you get mixology, which increases the effect of your flask by 80. So you get a stamina flask, that is 80 stamina, agility flask, that is 80 agility, so on and so forth. That is basically 2 gems worth of free stats. That is pretty big. Then you get access to a trinket. I think it's called the alchemy stone. Every expansion has the same trinket. They either have agility, stamina, or intellect or strength, and most likely one of them are gonna be your best in slot pre-raid gear, so it's a shame that you only can wear one of them, but still, you know, that's one item less in your list. And finally, you get reusable flasks. You can get like a flask that doesn't cost you money to drink it over and over and over again. Flasks are not that expensive in Cataclysm anymore, so this is not as good as it would be in other expansions, but it is something, I guess. Okay, we are gonna put this one on A. It is good for pretty much any class, but you are gonna see that number-wise it is not the best yet. And now we got archaeology. Archaeology is a secondary profession, and that means that on paper, all things being equal, all things are never equal, all things being equal, a secondary profession should be better because you can get this on top of all your other professions. Okay, the thing about archaeology is that it only has one perk, and that is level 359 epic level items. So 359 is the level of normal raiding gear in Cataclysm. You can get some really cool pre-raid best in slot items, and after that it becomes useless basically. So I got notes here, let me tell you. They got 2 stapes for casters, they got a shield for tanking, they got a trinket for mana. So if you're a healer or a mana intensive DPS, they have a really cool 2-hander sword for DPSers, and they also got a caster ring and a 1-hand DPSing sword that I think prot warriors can use as their pre-raid best in slot too. Again, if you are beyond tier 11 normal, or if you are already farming heroic or something, or if you just wanna get your pre-raid best in slot from like a heroic dungeon or whatever, this becomes useless. So for the few people that have to farm Synchro, the 2-hander sword, I feel really bad for you, because that's all you're gonna get from this, and then it's gone. There you go, it's going on D. It is a decent way to make money if you wanna be bored to hell looking for artifacts to sell. I'm not gonna say it's not, but yeah, you can also get some cool mounts, I guess. Yeah, it's 2 weeks after launch, archaeology is useless. Alright, next is herbalism. All you get is 480 haste and a little healing. It is nice, don't get me wrong, it is useful, but it is nowhere near as good as all the other professions, so we're gonna put this one on C. Now we got cooking here. Okay, you can make food buffs for every class, but none of them are BOP, so you can just go to the auction house and buy it. Food is not very expensive anymore, especially with the feast mechanic, making it a lot more affordable if you can get like your entire guild together to coordinate that. So it is essentially useless unless you want to cook your own stuff and make a little bit of savings, but yeah, it's useless. Okay, we got blacksmithing here. Blacksmithing is a pretty cool profession. You get access to, I believe, 2-plate DPS gear, and there's, I think, 1 sword for tanking, if I am not mistaken, in blacksmithing for your pre-raid best in slot. Again, it is 359, just like in the archaeology items, so you're not gonna use it after the first tier, but the cool thing you get is that you get an extra gem socket for your gloves and an extra gem socket for your bracers. So that is 2 gems, that is 80 gain stats, and that puts it at the same spot as alchemy, and so for that very reason it is going also on A. Next is enchanting, okay? All you get is an enchant for each one of your rings for 40 stats each, exactly the same bonus as blacksmithing or alchemy, and that is all you get, and you get no pre-raid vesting slot, so just for that reason it's going on B instead. Okay, now we got a cool one. Look at that, engineering. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a bunch of stuff about engineering. I even had to write this down because I'm gonna forget. First of all, you get access to the engineering goggles. That is your pre-raid vesting slot helmet for pretty much any spec you can imagine. They also have like this special socket on them. They are called the cogwheel, so you can put like 2 special engineering gems for secondary stats on the helmet. Right, so that is even more stats. You're gonna probably use this helmet well into tier 11 heroics. Okay, goggles are busted. You get also the grounded plasma shield. That is a shield for a bunch of damage, and if it misfires, you taunt all the mobs around you. So if you are a tank, right, this could be a win-win kinda scenario almost. You also get quick flip detection plates, which is a 1-minute cooldown that gives you a bunch of armor, again, tanking. But then for everybody else, you get this item called Synapse Springs. It increases your highest base stat, like intellect, agility, etc. for a 480, so they share a cooldown with your trinket, that's the problem. But if you have a proc trinket, and there's a lot of those in Cataclysm, especially if you're a tank for example, there is a lot of proc trinkets that come to mind. Casters also have a lot of proc trinkets. You get 2 proc trinkets and you get this on top, and you get a free trinket pretty much on top of your trinkets. That is insanely strong. You also get this item called the Tasic Shocker. It is basically a free nature shock worth of damage every 2 minutes. That's for DPSing, I guess it's good. And finally, you get increased mana for mana potions. So this is good for healers mostly. Overall, engineering has a little something for everybody. As far as tanking goes, it is the best profession out there almost every time. Caster DPS who do not have a lot of unused trinkets also can use engineering very well, and you benefit from this a lot too. So engineering is going on S here, mainly because I like engineering. And what are you gonna do? Are you gonna get mad in the comments? Well do it, I don't care, it's going on S anyway, deal with it. Let's see, now we got fishing here. Alright, fishing is a secondary profession again, and it doesn't give you any buffs at all, so it is just a decent way of making money, but that's it, it's going on D again. Then we got skinning here, which gives you 80 crit. 80 crit is a secondary stat, is less stat-wise than 80 of a base stat, number-wise, so yeah, skinning is not very good. I mean, it is something, but it's not very good. It's a passive, so you don't have to pay for it, but yeah, it's 80 crit, it doesn't work. We're gonna put it here. Okay, now we got jewel crafting. This is another one of those professions that start very good and they become useless, I believe, in Dragon Soul. Let me explain. You get these special gems that are a little better than the normal gems, so you can only use 3 of them for some reason. So that means you're gonna gain 90 stats. Again, that's slightly better than the other professions. The cost is that whenever Dragon Soul comes out, you get new epic gems that are as good or better, and that means the profession becomes useless. And for that reason, it's going on C, just because early on it is a little better than the others, but you know, 10 stats is not really that much. Here we got leatherworking now. Alright, all the icons are cropped, that's a little funny. Leatherworking gives you an enchant for your shoulders that is 80 stats better than the other enchants. That is the same as the others and nothing else, is going again on B. Mining has a passive of 120 stamina, which is exactly the same item value, stat value as 80 of a base stat. So yeah, in theory this is the same as the others because you can get, you know, the same stats, but the problem is you can only get stamina. What if you are not a tank? What if you do not need stamina? Then this is useless. Alright, the only thing that makes mining useful, in my opinion, is that if you're gonna go for engineering like I am, you might as well take mining, because if you're going engineering, you are probably a tank, right? So if you're going mining, you get the stamina which you need, so you are not wasting the slot here, and you can level up your engineering with what you mine. So yeah, I'm gonna put it on C because objectively it's not very good, but yeah, like there is a niche use case if you are a tank for it. Next is inscription. Alright, you're gonna notice a pattern here. I'm gonna shock you. You get an enchant for your shoulders that is exactly 80 extra stats. So this is the same as leatherworking, and if you are going leatherworking, you shouldn't go inscription because you are wasting a slot here. So yeah, it's another B here. And finally we got tailoring. Tailoring is a little weird. I really struggled with like thinking about this one a little bit. Alright. So you get an enchant for your cloak, but they are not stats. One increases your spirit, one increases your intellect, and the other one increases your attack power. That is on proc, so every spell that you throw or every melee hit that you do, but it also has an internal cooldown. It should be in theory really good for haste stacking classes, but then the cooldown ruins it. Some classes can abuse this really well. For example, you see a lot of resto druids going tailoring, which is really ironic because they wear leather, but yeah, you can see that happening sometimes. I'm gonna put it on B, but a very situational B. And there you got it, brothers. That is the entire professions. I'm gonna give you some recommendations here. Most of the professions are exactly the same, right? Like everything in B is 80 stats, everything in A is 80 stats plus a little something better, right? If you are going tank, please take engineering, and you can go engineering and mining, and that wouldn't be trolling, so that is great. If you are a really super tryhard, you can go jewel crafting and then change to something else after Dragon Soul. You can also do that. Overall, I think, like, keep in mind that skinning is completely useless for healers, so don't take that. Herbalism has haste, which is completely useless for some classes. Mining is completely useless unless you are a tank. So this is why these guys are in C here. You can take them, they are not trolling, but you have to make sure that your class benefits from them. Everything here in B, everything here in A, and even engineering if you really like PvP and it also helps. You should take without considering it. It's good. You're gonna be fine. And if you think you're gonna be fine, join the Discord. And if you think you are not gonna be fine, subscribe, because I'm gonna make sure you're not fine if you don't subscribe. And thank you for watching.